Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let us welcome our guest of honor, Honorable Yusuf Murangwa. Please, a big round of applause, for our guest of honor, Honorable Yusuf Murangwa, Minister of Finance and Economic Planning of the Republic of Rwanda. You're very welcome, Honorable Minister. I think we can do better to welcome our guests. Please, a big round of applause. Thank you very much. You're most welcome, everyone. Thank you. Good afternoon. Honorable Minister, representatives of IFAC, PAFA, and ICPA, delegations from the very many countries represented here today, distinguished guests, dear sponsors who made this event possible, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kigali, bienvenue à Kigali, murakaza neza, bienvenue. I can tell you that as delegates, friends, professionals, we are thrilled to welcome here today. We've been waiting for this day, and seeing this room full of people eager to learn more about the profession and how it builds the future is a great pleasure to all of us. My name is Nicholas Eman. I'm a communications professional, and I'll be your MC for this opening ceremony. I need to tell you a small anecdote about when we were preparing for this event. I came here. You know, communication is a very creative field. I came here, and I read the program, the objectives, and I thought, innovation in accounting, interesting. What could innovation look like? Then I started asking. Said, okay, how many languages will we have in the room? And they said, oh, at least 3 languages, maybe more. Okay, who are the translators? And they told me, oh, AI is going to do it. Artificial intelligence. I was like, oh, artificial intelligence can do it. Okay, interesting. And when I talked about introducing the speakers, they told me, oh no, don't worry, AI is going to do it. I said, okay, interesting. So you see, these are the preconception of misconception we can have about the field or profession. So I'm sure we will all discover so many things about this profession over the coming days. So please brace yourselves, there's so much coming. We've all read the objectives. It's about fostering collaboration, sharing knowledge, and about developing the profession on our beloved continent. So today we have many speakers who are going to unpack all these objectives, who are going to tell us what to expect, who are going to tell us what the future years look like for this profession. On that, I would like to welcome our first speaker for today, Mr. John Bugunya, Vice President of ICPA. You're welcome, sir.
He is a seasoned finance professional with over 2 decades of experience in financial management, corporate governance, and strategic leadership across Africa and Europe. He is Vice President of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Rwanda, ICPA, and Chair of the ACOA 2025 Organizing Committee. A former CFO at Simergwa PLC, he has held executive roles in banking and insurance. He is an FCPA, ACCA UK member and holds 2 master's degrees. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in welcoming FCPA John Bugunya.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minister of Finance and our guest of honor, the Minister of Trade and Commerce, the President of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the President of IFAC, the CEO of IFAC, CEOs and presidents of different professional accounting bodies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. We are deeply honored to welcome you to this Africa Congress of Accountants that is happening in Rwanda, to this beautiful city of Kigali, and we hope that you will enjoy this city and the country at large over the next couple of days. As the theme goes, creating value for Africa, the theme speaks about the role of accountants, but also the collective responsibility that we hold to drive meaningful, inclusive, and sustainable development in this continent that we call home. We are therefore extremely proud as an institute to welcome over 2,000 delegates from across the world, from over 53 countries, from Africa, North America, South America, Europe, as well as Asia. Before we begin our program, allow me, Honorable Minister of Finance, to mention the countries that are present in this conference, and again, to echo the importance that we place on this Congress. Let me begin by, in no particular order, welcome the delegates from Nigeria, represented by two accounting bodies, ICAN and ANAN. If you could please stand up and wave to the guest of honor. As you can see, Honorable Minister, it's quite a big house. Thank you very much, colleagues from Nigeria. Next, I would like to welcome the colleagues from Uganda, led by the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda, ICPAU. If you could please stand up for recognition. You're most welcome, members from ICPAU. Then, Honorable Minister, we have the team that has come from the Republic of Kenya, where we have the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya, ICPAK. Please stand up for recognition. Thank you. We have the team that has come from Tanzania, led by the professional body from Tanzania, NBAA. If you could please stand up for recognition. Thank you. And then we have the team that has come from Zimbabwe, from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Zimbabwe. If you could please stand up for recognition. Thank you. Next, we have the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Ghana. If you could please stand up for recognition. Thank you very much. We then have the team from Zambia, from ZICA, Zambia Institute of Chartered Accountants. If you could please stand up for recognition. Thank you very much. We then have our sisters and brothers from Somalia. We are privileged, Honorable Minister, to have them here. There are two accounting bodies from Somalia. We'll request, yes, if you could please stand up for recognition. You're most welcome, both ICPAS as well as SICPA. Thank you very much. We then have a team from Malawi, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Malawi. If you could please stand up for recognition. Thank you very much. We have representation from Angola. If you're in the room, please stand up for recognition. Thank you very much. And then we have members from South Africa, from the two accounting bodies in South Africa, SAIPA and SAICA. If you could please stand up for recognition. Thank you very much. We then have a representation from Lesotho. Lesotho, the accounting body in Lesotho. If you're in the room, please stand up. Yes. Can see you. You're most welcome. We then have the accounting body represented from our sister country in Burundi, from OPC. I saw the team, Frederick, and the entire team. You're most welcome. Thank you very much. We then have members from Gambia, the institute in Gambia. If you're in the room, please stand up for recognition. Thank you. Most welcome. Thank you. We then have a team from Ethiopia, from the accounting body in Ethiopia. If you could please stand up for recognition. We then have a team from Malawi, the Honorable Minister. If you're in the room, please stand up for recognition. Thank you. We then have members from Cameroon, from the Institute of Cameroon. If you could please stand up for recognition. Yes, thank you very much. We then have a team from Senegal, the delegation from Senegal. If you could please stand up for recognition. Thank you very much. Then we have a delegation from Liberia. If you're in the room, please stand up for recognition. Thank you very much. We then have a delegation from Benin. Benin, if you're in the room, please stand up. Thank you very much. We then have a delegation from Botswana. Botswana, if you could please stand up. Yes. You're most welcome. We have a delegation from Ivory Coast or Côte d'Ivoire. If you're in the room, please stand up. Thank you very much. We then have a delegation from Chad. Chad, if you're in the room, please stand up. Thank you. Then we have a delegation from the Democratic Republic of Congo, the DRC. If you're in the room, please stand up for recognition. Thank you. We then have a delegation from Mauritius. Mauritius delegation, if you're in the room, please stand up for recognition. Yes, you're most welcome. Thank you very much. We then have a team from Mozambique, from OCA. Team from Mozambique, please stand up for recognition. Most welcome. We then have a delegation from Namibia. If you're in the room, please stand up for recognition. Yes. Thank you. We then have a delegation from Sudan. If you're in the room, please stand up for recognition. We then have a delegation from Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone, if you're in the room, please stand up for recognition. Thank you very much. We then have a delegation from Morocco, OEC Morocco. Thank you very much. We have a delegation from Niger. Niger, if you're in the room, please stand up for recognition. You can see you there, right up there. You're most welcome. We then have a delegation from the Republic of Congo. If you're in the room, please stand up for recognition. We then have a delegation from Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso, yes, right here. You're most welcome. You're most welcome, sir. We then have a delegation from Tunisia. Tunisia, where our incoming president, the PAFA president and his delegation. You're most welcome. We then have a delegation from Algeria. Algeria, you're most welcome. We have a delegation from the United Kingdom. I believe, Lee, you would stand in that delegation, right? You're most welcome. We have a delegation from Togo. Team from Togo, you're most welcome. We have a delegation from India. You're most welcome. We have a delegation from Canada. Canada, if you're in the room, please stand up. We have a delegation from South Sudan. South Sudan, if you're in the room, please stand up. Yes, we can see you. Thank you very much for coming. We have a delegation from France. I believe our IFAC president would be part of that delegation, right? You're most welcome. We have a delegation from the United States of America, sent by Trump himself. So you're most welcome. Please stand up for recognition. I think they are making their way to the room. We have a delegation from Djibouti. Djibouti, if you could stand up for recognition. We have a delegation from Pakistan. Pakistan, if you're in the room, please stand up for recognition. We have a delegation from Andorra. Andorra, if you're in the room, please stand up for recognition. And we have a representation as well from Belgium. I think some of these members are still making their way here, and we will acknowledge them as they come through. Honorable Minister, allow me to also acknowledge our sponsors. In a special way, we've had an amazing turnout of sponsors, and I think it's only fair to mention them and also give them an opportunity to be acknowledged, Honorable Minister. In our silver category, we have ACCA. ACCA, if you're in the room, please stand up for recognition. Thank you very much for your sponsorship. We appreciate the partnership with ICPA. We also have the Rwanda Finance, KIFC, as well as the University of Rwanda. If you're in the room, please stand up for recognition. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, KIFC and University of Rwanda. In the bronze category, Honorable Minister, we have KPMG, we have SIPFA, Alien Global, as well as Equity Bank Rwanda. If you're in the room, please stand up for recognition. And in the participating sponsor category, guest of honor, we have Fortis Mazars, we have Anderson, we have Caseware, EcoBank, SIMA, Gavian Global Fund, RUMA, ICA, W, FIDEF, EY, Honk International, Access Bank Rwanda, Cheaper Cash, BDO East Africa, as well as HLB. We thank all these participating sponsors. Thank you for your partnership. And if you're in the room, please stand up for recognition. We also thank our exclusive digital media partner, Forensic CPA Society. Thank you very much. As we conclude our remarks, Honorable Minister, we also have exhibitors, some of whom you've met a few minutes ago, Honorable Minister. We had 29 exhibitors. You've met most of them. They have explained to you what they do and some of the services and the value addition they are bringing to Rwanda and to the accounting profession. Honorable Minister, in the interest of time, mindful that I've overrun my time, I will probably just quickly mention them without necessarily asking them to stand up since you've already had a chance to meet them. The exhibitors, we had ICPAR, which is the Institute of Accountants of Rwanda. We had KIFC, Kigali International Financial Center. We have ACCA, the University of Rwanda, KPMG, SIPFA, Alien Global, Equity Bank, Anderson, Fortis Mazars, Caseware. We have Gavi, Honk International, Triple AG, the Association for Auditor Generals across Africa. We have JG Bailey. We have Matt Abacus, Made in Rwanda Market, ICPAK or ISPAC from Kenya, ICANN from Nigeria, ANAN from Nigeria, the two accounting member bodies from Nigeria. We have Access Bank Rwanda, who are also exhibitors, DNR Partners. We have Fortis Mazars, Garnet Partners, GPO Partners, JG Bailey and Associates, B. Callan, M&C Consultants, as well as RG Partners. For those that may have time later on, feel free to go through the lobby. The listed exhibitors are waiting to meet you, to explain to you their service offering, and to also demonstrate their value addition that they can bring to your companies as well as to your institutions. Having said that, thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for your kind attention as well as the entire congregation. I'll hand back to the MC. Thank you very much.
A warm round of applause to the Vice President. This was such a powerful opening of this ceremony. Before we go further, I would like to ask the technical team to display this QR code. Using this QR code, you can scan this QR code with your smartphones and you'll have access to translation on your devices. So that will be in French and Portuguese. We have a responsibility to drive development. The profession has the responsibility to drive development. This is my key takeaway from this powerful keynote address. I would say my first key takeaway. The second one, I even failed to count the number of countries represented here today. I think that's a good percentage of the globe. We can clap for ourselves. I'm really amazed to see all these countries being represented, and with this great responsibility that is given to us to drive development, I think we can definitely do something here in the coming days. The Vice President has welcomed all of you in a powerful manner, but that's not all. As Rwandans, we also want to welcome you. We want to show our culture. We want to give you a powerful welcome in the country of the Thousand Hills. And for that, I'm pleased to call the group Inayoberana, which will give a powerful dance today to set the stage for the rest that is coming today. They are very welcome on stage. We can clap for them to encourage them to come.
Rwanda maze nitegereza u Rwanda rwa Gasabo bana ba mama iyo bakamurebe mwe ihute hute maze dutaramire mu Rwanda rwa Gasabo bana ba mama iyo bakamurebe mwe abatereza u Rwanda twizihiza uyu munsi bana ba mama iyo bakamurebe mwe Rwanda rw'amahoro
Ladies and gentlemen, a warm round of applause for Inayo Verana. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Rwanda. This is our culture. And this is our welcome. But it's only 50% of our welcome. We also have a great artist, a poet, who is going to show you another aspect of our culture. Allow me to welcome Naleli Rujeje for a poem that she's going to share with us today. Welcome.
Have you ever seen a giant? Guardians of numbers, keepers of truth, architects of economic development, moving boldly in their element, tracking the extensive territory of the trans-Saharan trade routes, of West to North Africa, moving heavy. In Ghana, Mali, Songhai, when we dig into our history, we have a view of a broader sky. Cities like Timbuktu and Gao became kingdom hubs. Oceans became portals to the cultural exchange of goods. Coastal cities of Kilwa, Mombasa, and Zanzibar became East Africa's lighthouse of trade. Egypt adjusted its sails. The great kingdom of Zimbabwe prevailed. Our traders were accountants, and the ledger exists. Geometric designs coded into Rwanda's reef basket, the agaseke, kept transactional records. Notches on sticks by the Igbo people of Nigeria. Reconciliation tools of palm and carnal counting to track debt and payments throughout West Africa. Hieroglyphic accounting by the ancient Egyptians. Cowrie shells as currency, now you see symbols leave a paper trail. That is how we found our journals. The records carved in time held systems in place. Agreements were prime. These are our roots of origin. Taking the necessary strides to move civilization forward. These are the storytellers of value-added creation, and now harnessing the collective power of our advanced standard practice when it comes to collaborating and diversifying our markets. Africa Congress of Accountants innovates. Furthermore, they have learned to navigate the terrain of a continent measured to sustain its health through the initiatives that lead its people into a mindset of wealth. Understanding what growth requires, an environment that allows people to thrive, we aspire to more than just surviving, but building a brighter future, and these values aligning. Delegates and speakers, our accountants are teachers, giving us the opportunity to understand the mechanics of sustainable finance through connecting and sharing and establishing alliance. Accountants are custodians of age-old management of wealth, with stakeholders pairing into a dream that is daring, as if the sun in your face was glaring, and expanding into a network of professionals. Shape-shifting Africa's monetary landscape into an eagle, we take flight, we are expandable. Making the place where we invest something that is tangible. We are the reserve. We are the reserve that must combine the ultimate resource. How? That is how we hold financial integrity. This collective energy will serve a purpose and be the recourse, creating value for Africa and the weight of her gold. Look at our continent getting stronger because we won't fold our hands and do nothing. As the continent climate changes, asking us to sustain its breath, we must drive capital flows to the river that feeds our banks. We will grow potential with AI, simulation, and fintech integration. Transparent cross-border payments powered by blockchain. This is the evolution of time-sensitive solutions. Synchronized and uncorrupted, we have come a long way from where we have started. Have you ever seen a giant? The giant is the continent of Africa. Thank you.
I think we can definitely do better than that. Thank you very much. Indeed, the giant is the continent of Africa. We aspire to more than just surviving, and these are the storytellers of value addition. We are the storytellers of value addition. Thank you very much for these powerful words, and I think we're all moved by these words, and this gives us inspiration for the work we're going to be doing in the coming days. Without further ado, I would like to call the president of IFAC, Mr. Obadiah Viraro, to the stage for his address. You're welcome, sir.
He is an expert in public financial management, audit reform, and professional accountancy with over 30 years of experience across East Africa. He currently serves as president of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Rwanda, ICPA, and is former Auditor General of Rwanda. He chaired the EAC Audit Commission, contributed to AfroSci and Intosci, and previously practiced with Ernst & Young and Jasper Sebu. He holds an MBA and is an FCPA. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in welcoming FCPA Obadiah R. Viraro.
Honorable Minister, our guest of honor, allow me correct an impression by our MC regarding the artificial intelligence translation. There is something it can't translate. The science behind that dance you saw. That can't be translated by the Honorable Minister of Finance and Economic Development of Rwanda, our guest of honor. Sincerely, when you see that gathering that was introduced to you, we don't know how to quantitatively put the importance we attach to your presence here. However, before that, there is a big majority, because of the good manners of that certified public accountant, our vice president, he forgot to introduce. It was because of the conservativeness inherent in the accountant thinking. There is a huge delegation from Rwanda. When I last checked the listing, they could be close to 535. True and fair. First and foremost, Honorable Minister of Finance, allow us request to take our deep, very profound indebtedness to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, when, in 1998, this institute was enshrined intrinsically in the Visio 2020, 1998. A naked eye could not see it, but it was there. by the effort of His Excellency the President. Later on, you were around, Honorable Minister, when the EDPRS came into being as a blueprint of the economic development of Rwanda. The accountant was there, enshrined in the EDPRS. Later on, in 2017, for which we salute vehemently the Prime Minister, when he signed EDPR, NST1, especially in pillar number 3, obliging the accountant wherever she is, as an accounting officer of the government, assisting or directly or indirectly, that in pillar number 3, that by 2024, all those who use the government budget must obtain, or not all those, but 80%, at least 80% of the those who use the government budget must obtain unqualified, or in Rwanda we call it clean audit opinion from the Auditor General. That was responsibilizing these CPA guys who partake in the accounting and accountability in the Republic of Rwanda. It is because of that reason, when I last checked, Honorable Minister of Finance, that I think Rwanda, well, of course you know it better than I do, that Rwanda was rated by International Transparency International in terms of accountability and intolerance of corruption. I think Rwanda was rated number 1 in East African community, number 4 in Africa, and I think number 54, I stand corrected, in the whole world. It's because of the importance of this institute. Therefore, we highly got indebted to you, Honorable Minister, when you elevated this event to the cabinet meeting of Republic of Rwanda, that there shall be ACOA in this republic. Ladies and gentlemen of ACOA, your presence here was elevated to a cabinet meeting by the Minister of Finance that is seated here to manifest the importance he attaches to the accounting profession in the Republic of Rwanda. Therefore, we pledge our loyalty to the profession, and the Honorable Minister, that's why you saw something out there, that if you can't account, chartered accountants, CPAs, by whatever name called, wherever you are in this world, if you can't account, then you don't count. That is enshrined in the letter P, by which we are known, Certified Public Accountant, that if you can't account, then you don't count. There's nothing as bad as not counting in a society. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. On behalf of the Institute, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, and on behalf of the Certified Public Accountants of Rwanda, it is my great pleasure to honor all of you who have traveled from far and wide to reach Rwanda, and the time so far you have spent and you will spend. You are encouraging and encouraged under the theme, creating value for Africa. I know in the places like South Africa, I think you no longer have a CFO as a title. You have Chief Value Officer. If you think I'm mistaken, you can consult Professor Marvin King. You know him? Yes. Chief Value Officer. Creating value. This is CFO, CPA, who cannot create value, I think we'll start doing so today. The theme reflects our shared commitment to building strong, inclusive, and forward-looking profession that contributes meaningfully to Africa's sustainable development. For those who have been doing performance auditing, like our outgoing president, you remember SDGs. There's nothing as bad as an Auditor General who cannot take a report to Parliament on SDGs. But we are very glad our outgoing president, you have been doing so. No wonder you got a golden award, I think. That's the outgoing president that we have had. So, therefore, we look forward to hosting you in Kigali in so many big ways, especially as depicted by the dances that you saw. An open, vibrant, and innovative city, as you have already seen, as we engage, collaborate, and inspire one another to drive Africa's transformation through professional excellence. Sincerely, I wish words would do more, but mine is to say, suffice to say, welcome all of you, bienvenue, muito obrigado. This evening, and the several evenings you'll spend in Rwanda, Kigali, should be very addition to you all, and we wish you a very good stay in Rwanda. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President of ICPA. From the poem to this address, I hear a lot about value. So this must be a key word in this field, in this profession, value. And yes, indeed, AI cannot translate everything, and I think even the value the profession brings cannot be translated by AI. We need the talent as well to bring it to life. So thank you very much for your address. I also want to take this opportunity to recognize two institutions who have supported this event. That is DNR Partners and RSSB. If you're in the room, we're thankful for your contribution and support to this event. Thank you very much. We can clap for them. Next on the agenda, we have Mrs. Keto Kayemba, President of PAFA. Please, let's share her introduction as she walks to the stage. You're welcome.
She is the president of the Pan-African Federation of Accountants and CEO of KK Group of Companies. She is a former Deputy Auditor General of Uganda and has held leadership roles with IFAC, ICPAO, and ISACA. A fellow ACCA, she holds degrees in commerce, energy management, and business administration. She is a mentor and a passionate advocate for advancing women in the accountancy profession. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in welcoming CPA Keto N. Kayemba.
That is Africans for you when they're enjoying themselves. It's beautiful. The Honorable Minister of Finance, we welcome you so much to this function. Thank you for honoring us. Honorable Minister of Trade, you're most welcome. Other honorable ministers, distinguished members of Parliament, the President and Chief Executive of the Institute of the International Federation of Accountants, IFAC, the President, Board, and Chief Executive Officer of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Rwanda, ISPA, representatives of professional accountancy organizations, presidents, vice presidents, vice presidents, CEOs, chairpersons and chief executive officers, members of the profession, ladies and gentlemen, you're most welcome. It is with immense pride and deep gratitude that I welcome you to the 8th Africa Congress of Accountants, ACOA 2025. A heartfelt murakaza neza. Murakaza neza to you all, especially those who have traveled from far and wide to be here. Let me start by extending our sincere appreciation to our gracious hosts, the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Rwanda, IFAC, whose dedication and leadership have brought us together in this world-class venue in one of Africa's most inspiring cities. I have always looked at this convention center in the internet with all the colors, and I am just amazed. I would also like to extend our heartfelt appreciation to the Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Honorable Yusuf Murangwa, whose visionary leadership continues to steer Rwanda towards economic prosperity. The unwavering support from the government of Rwanda and His Excellency Paul Kagame has been instrumental in making this Congress possible, and we are deeply grateful for their commitment to advancing the accountancy profession in Africa. Kigali is not just a host city. It is a symbol of resilience, innovation, and transformation. We encourage you all to explore its beauty, culture, and sustainability as we reflect on our shared future. The theme of ACOA 2025, Creating Value for Africa, invites us to reimagine our role as accountants, not simply as technical professionals, but as catalysts for inclusive, sustainable development. This theme aligns with PAFA's vision of sustainable value creation for the benefit of African citizens and ties directly into Agenda 2063, the Sustainable Development Goals, and the global momentum around sustainability, digitization, and governance reform. Across more than 20 sessions and side events, ACOA 2025 addresses today's most urgent and strategic trends. You have driving sustainable development and climate action for enhanced capital flows in Africa. We have realizing the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, boosting trade and economic development. We have empowering workforce development and economic growth. And we also have exploring the nexus between corruption and sustainable development, challenges and pathways to progress. These themes reflect a profession that is not just responding to change, but it is driving change. As you can see, we have a wide range of topics, and each individual will be able to pick areas of supreme interest and attend the sessions. In particular, the various expert forums, which you will be able to pick and choose as you attend. ACOA is more than a congress. It is a catalyst. It is a platform for dialogue and innovation. It is a platform where finance leaders, policymakers, regulators, and industry experts from Africa and beyond converge to share insights, challenge conventional thinking, and co-create solutions that are both uniquely African and globally significant. Let's not forget what ACOA offers each of us individually and collectively. It gives us collective action for change. It offers us collective action for change. As ACOA unites accounting and finance professionals to address Africa's challenges and opportunities. It offers us continuous engagement, as unlike a once-off conference, a movement sustains dialogue, learning, and action beyond the event. It offers us stronger voice and influence. When professionals come together as a movement, they amplify their impact on policy, governance, and financial integrity across Africa. It offers us inspiring leadership and innovation. It offers us, we gain exclusive insights from world-class speakers. It enables us to advance our professional growth and leadership. We earn CPD credits and enhance our impact. We are going to experience Kigali, Africa's innovation hub. And most importantly, ACOA enables us to join a community with a shared purpose. Over the next few days, I encourage you to participate with the intention. Be intentional. Ask the difficult questions. Offer bold ideas. Seek out new perspectives and build relationships that will endure long after Kigali 2025. This is a Pan-African gathering. We are inspired by the overwhelming response to ACOA 2025. We didn't expect to get 2,000 plus. We are all so excited. 2,000 plus from over 45 countries. Actually, it's not 45, because 45, you're only talking about the African countries that are around. But we have the global that have joined us to grace this function. It is a testament to the strength and unity of the African accountancy profession. We are also honored to welcome professions from India, the United Kingdom, Canada, France, Belgium, Turkey, USA, Papua New Guinea, and many other countries. This rich diversity is more than symbolic. It is a source of strength. Let me take you through PAFA's strategic focus and role. At PAFA, we are fully committed to transforming Africa through the profession. Our strategy 2025-2027 anchors our efforts in advocating and engaging as the leading voice of the accountancy profession in Africa, championing good governance, transparency, and accountability in the public and private sectors, and contributing to the fight against corruption and economic crime. We are to contribute to the development, adoption, and implementation of international standards that address Africa's needs and contexts. PAFA aims to equip PAOs to develop and promote the profession as a dynamic and attractive career choice. It aims to equip PAOs to foster professional accountants who are ethical, digitally competent, sustainability focused, and prepared to address Africa's emerging needs and opportunities in both the public and private sectors. And PAFA also intends to equip PAOs to advance women's participation and leadership in the profession. Ladies and gentlemen, our strategy at PAFA aims at enhancing the quality and mobility of professional accountancy services to unify the profession, transform its impact, and ensure it thrives in driving Africa's development. Our strategy aims at positioning the accountancy profession as a driver of sustainability by promoting integrated thinking and sustainability reporting and assurance to support Africa's sustainable development. Together, we are making a measurable impact. What is our call to action? This is your moment. Engage, contribute, learn, lead. Let's also unite, transform, and thrive. Africa does not need to replicate the world. Africa can influence the world. Let's work together to harness our continent's youthful energy, growing digital capacity, and demand for integrity to reimagine accountancy for the next generation. Before I conclude, allow me to acknowledge the work done behind the scenes to put all of this together. From our host, ISPAR, all our sponsors and partners, our speakers and facilitators, the ACOA organizing committee led by Mr. John Bukunya, our esteemed senior officials and dignitaries, and of course, the PAFA Secretariat led by Alta Onslow. In closing, in essence, ACOA 2025 is not only a mirror of our moment. It is a lens into Africa's future. And under this theme, creating value for Africa, we reaffirm our belief that value is not only financial. Value is trust, it is equity, it is resilience, and progress. Through your work and through our shared profession, we can help shape the Africa we want. Our profession must not merely adapt to change, we must lead the change. Colleagues, we have a lot to do. With our talent, our passion, our energy, our momentum, and our partnerships, we are poised to succeed. Together, we can unlock Africa's full potential through sound governance, ethical leadership, and financial excellence. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Kayemba. Mrs. Kayemba, I would like to ask you to remain on the stage for a few more seconds. I don't know about you, but hearing the goals of PAFA from her just feels different. The personal commitment and the passion just feels different. And I think that's why we have so much love coming from you, from the audience. And there is also love coming from the organizers. So I would like to ask, we have an usher, Mr. Viraro. We know we have a token of appreciation. So it's coming. You can deliver it on stage to Mrs. Kayemba. Thank you very much. I would like to ask the photographers to capture this moment as she receives her token of appreciation. Thank you very much. Indeed, Africa can influence the world, and it starts with this profession. Thank you for those powerful words. Next to come on stage is Mr. Jean Boucaud, Président de l'IFAC. Bienvenue. Can we have the introduction video of Mr. Jean Boucaud as he walks on stage?
He's the president of IFAC, appointed in November 2024 after serving as deputy president since 2022. A former EY audit partner and past president of CNCC, he has over 40 years of experience in assurance and professional regulation. He's an HEC Paris graduate and a reserve colonel in the French Air Force, reflecting his commitment to both public service and the accountancy profession. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in welcoming Monsieur Jean Boucaud.
Honorable Mr. Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Mr. Yusuf Murangwa, Honorable Minister of Trade Industry, Mr. Prudence Bahati, Excellencies and distinguished guests, President of the Pan-African Federation of Accountants, Keto Kayamba, and Walid Ben Salah, President of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Rwanda, Mr. Obadia Biraro, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, friends and colleagues from across the continent and around the world. My name, as just said, is Jean Boucaud. I'm president of IFAC, the International Federation of Accountants. It is a true honor to join distinguished guests from all over the continent and many of our profession key stakeholders for the 8th Africa Congress of Accountants. Thank you to PAFA CEO, Alta Prinsloo, for inviting me to speak, and to the PAFA team for their hard work. And thank you to ICPAR CEO, Amin Miramago, and the ICPAR team for the warm welcome to Rwanda, the breathtaking land of 1,000 mills. I'm sure most of you are familiar with IFAC, so let me just say we are the global organization of the accountancy profession. We represent millions of professional accountants through our 187 members across 142 jurisdictions. I can best describe our role in terms of the value we bring to our members, which we call our member value proposition. This has three parts. First, IFAC, by connecting and uniting its members, makes the accounting profession truly global. Second, IFAC member organizations are champions of integrity and professional quality and proudly carry their membership as a badge of international recognition. And third, IFAC and its members work together to shape the future of the profession through learning, through innovation, a collective voice, and commitment to public interest. Everything we do at IFAC is only possible with the collective efforts of the entire accounting profession. And looking at the size of our assembly today, I think we are all here So thank you to PAFA and all your members, to ICPAR, and to every other professional accountancy organization represented here for the essential work you do on behalf of our profession and the public interest. In the short time I have left, I want to quickly offer a few thoughts on our theme, creating value for Africa. Let me first start with sustainability. At IFAC, we continue to support our profession in making and leading the sustainability transformation. And in this country, Honorable Minister of Finance, we know how you are engaged into sustainability. The role of non-financial information in the sustainability transformation is essential. Financial markets need this information so that investors and lenders can make efficient decisions that align with sustainability targets and create lasting long-term value. But for this to be true, no actor can be outside this reporting system. Building a consistent global baseline for high-quality mandatory reporting and assurance of sustainability information is an urgent task. Regulatory fragmentation on sustainability disclosure is a real possibility. One significant risk is greater costs and difficulties conducting business across borders. Another risk is the potential that weak or poorly designed regulations could allow the greenwashing. IFAC will continue to advocate strongly on behalf of the International Sustainability Standards Board as the best home for the reporting baseline. We also believe widespread adoption and implementation of the IWSB ISA 5000 standard will be crucial for ensuring that sustainability assurance builds trust and confidence in sustainability information. However, for standards to be meaningful, they need to apply to everyone, not just to professional accountants. And to prevent the rise of regulatory fragmentation, our entire profession needs to converge whenever possible on the same standards, including ISA 5000. We encourage PAOs to speak out in your jurisdiction to make the case to regulators and policymakers and lead the profession towards alignment and convergence. I will also add that as a profession, we owe our credibility on these public interest issues to our adherence to ISBA's International Code of Ethics. It's an amazing asset and what differentiates us from all service providers. Our commitment to our ethical principles must remain rock solid. Let us move now to another topic. The profession's support for small and medium-sized enterprises is another high priority at IFAC. SMEs are the backbone of the global economy. There are tens of millions of SMEs in Africa, and they employ 4 out of 5 people. And larger companies depend on them as suppliers or customers. Creating value for Africa is very closely tied to the outlook of these businesses. Our role in the success of SMEs includes all professional accountants who work with or within SMEs, but especially small and medium-sized practices, SMPs. The long-lasting, trusted relationships between SMPs and their SME clients are extremely valuable, especially during challenging times. For example, SMEs will increasingly be subject to requests from large companies, banks, and suppliers for sustainability-related information. But many do not have the resources to handle these requests. SMEs will continue to look outside their firms for support, and we need to be future fit and ready to help. This is easier said than done, of course. SMPs are in a tough environment. They may understandably be anxious about the greater complexity that comes with sustainability, or with the technical challenges that come with AI and other emerging technologies. In many countries, SMPs are also struggling with attracting and retaining talent. At IFAC, our SMP advisory group focuses on how we can support this crucial segment of the profession. On the IFAC website, you can find our Practice Transformation Action Plan, which the advisory group developed to guide SMPs on how they can embrace change, leverage technology, manage talent, and enhance their role as trusted advisors to SMEs. It is available, this plan which I've just mentioned, is available in English, in French, in Portuguese, in Spanish, and several other languages. The most important source of support for SMEs, however, will always be professional accountancy organizations. I encourage professionals to look to their PAO and PAOs to keep offering the resources that your members need. To conclude, I want to focus on our profession's commitment to the public interest. We have unique and important contributions to make in the sustainability transformation and in support of SMEs. But our public interest mandate and public oversight are what truly define us. Over many generations, we have earned an excellent reputation and a great deal of trust. We do not keep this role by default, however. It is our duty to act with integrity and professionalism, grounded in the principle of the IFAC Code of Ethics. We need to continue to live up to the high standards we have for ourselves and the high expectations of our stakeholders. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, thank you for being here, so many of you, and thank you for lending your voice to the discussion, for your energy and enthusiasm, your engagement over the next 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, and I'm looking forward to an excellent Africa Congress of Accountants.
Thank you very much, Monsieur Boucaud. I was told that Mrs. Kayemba was not the only one to be recognized with a token of appreciation today, so she also has one for you. I'm going to ask the usher to come forward. We also want to recognize your contribution and your support, and this token of appreciation is for you. We can clap. Thank you. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda for this afternoon. Yes, we can continue to clap for them as they walk to their seats. Absolutely. Next on our agenda is someone very special. It is our guest of honor. is gracing this event with his presence. So I am honored to call to the stage Honorable Yusuf Murangwa, the Minister of Economic Planning and Finance of the Republic of Rwanda. Thank you very much.
Honorable Yusuf Murangwa, Rwanda's Minister of Finance and Economic Planning. He brings over 20 years of expertise in official statistics and national economic development. He holds a master's degree in applied statistics and operations research from Cardiff University. Prior to his ministerial appointment, he served as Director General of NISR and chaired the boards of Rwanda Revenue Authority and NIDA. He also led global efforts in statistics development as chair of Paris 21 at the OECD.
Minister of Trade and Commerce, the President and Chief Executive Officer of the International Federation of Accountants, the President and the Chief Executive Officer of the Pan-African Federation of Accountants, the President and Chief Executive Officer and our host of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Rwanda, honorable members of Parliament that are present here, the chairpersons, chief executive officers, and representatives of professional accountancy organizations, members of the profession, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols are observed. Good afternoon. It is both an honor and a privilege to welcome you all to Rwanda and the city of Kigali for the Africa Congress of Accountants 2025. In Rwanda, we are proud to host this prestigious gathering under the theme, Creating Value for Africa. This theme is timely and speaks directly to our continent's shared development aspirations under Agenda 2063 and Rwanda's Vision 2050 for inclusive and sustainable economic transformation. This Congress is happening at a defining moment for Africa. Across our continent, we are navigating complex economic challenges, climate risks, global disruptions, and shifting financial landscapes. Yet, we are also witnessing incredible momentum in innovation in Africa, demographic opportunities, and regional integration. In this context, the role of the accountancy profession cannot be overstated. Accountants, auditors, and financial professionals have a unique position to assist Africa in generating, assessing, and safeguarding value. They achieve this by promoting transparency, accountability, and sustainability with both public and private institutions. Africa needs professionals who are not only competent, but they should also be able to lead, especially lead reforms, protect public interest, and provide sound advice that unlocks value and drives impact. ladies and gentlemen, in Rwanda, the profession continues to play a vital role in strengthening our institutions and supporting our ambition to build a knowledge-based economy driven by efficiency, trust, and innovation. As Africa rises, we must ensure that our growth is anchored on strong systems and ethical leadership. The accountancy profession, built on integrity and rigor, is central to this journey. As a country, we are happy to host the Africa Congress of Accountants 2025 as a platform to champion sustainable finance and economic, social, and governance integration, not only as technical matters, but as transformational tools for Africa's future. Rwanda's green taxonomy, the Kigali International Financial Center, and reforms to promote green investments through institutions such as the Development Bank of Rwanda are proof of our commitment. We are also proud of the growing collaboration of the government of Rwanda and the accountancy profession. We are proud with this growing relationship, both in Rwanda, in the region, and globally. As finance ministers across Africa continue to explore how to align scarce resources and budgets with the sustainable development goals and climate commitments, we need reliable data, trusted reporting frameworks, and professionals with the right expertise. I urge all delegates here to use this Congress as a moment of reflection and collaboration. Let us together challenge ourselves not only to think of how we account for value, but also how we create and sustain value. Rwanda is delighted to host this continental gathering. I commend the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Rwanda, the Pan-African Federation of Accountants, and all partners for their effort in bringing all of us here in Kigali. I now have the honor to officially declare the Africa Congress of Accountants, ACOA 2025, open. And I want to wish you all fruitful deliberations, strengthened partnerships, and a memorable stay in Rwanda and in Kigali. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, I would like to ask you to remain on stage. As you just officially opened this ceremony, I think this is the right moment for a group picture with the presidents, the vice presidents, and the CEOs of IFAC, PAFA, and ICPA. And also, I would like to call to the stage the Honorable Minister of Trade and Industry to join the group for the picture. You're welcome, Honorable Minister. Thank you very much. Let's reflect and collaborate not just on creating value, but on sustaining value. These are my main key takeaways for this powerful address from the Honorable Minister, and I hope these words are anchored in what we're going to do in the coming days. As they take this group picture, I would like to kindly ask the representatives of the sponsors that have been mentioned earlier to also come to the stage for a group picture. If you represent one of the institutions that was mentioned earlier in the opening by Mr. John Bugunya, please make your way to the stage to join the group picture. Thank you very much. So the second picture, representatives of sponsors, you're welcome to the stage. Please make your way to the stage to take a group picture with the representatives of the institutions and the guest of honor, the Honorable Minister. You're very welcome. As you make your way to the stage, I would also like to acknowledge ICPAZ, IAC Zimbabwe, CGI Zimbabwe, SAAA Zimbabwe, and IAC South Africa, and of course the delegation from South Africa who are also present in the room. Can we please give them a round of applause? Thank you very much. This is quite the group picture. I hope you're able to capture everyone. We have so many friends that we didn't imagine it will take the entire stage. We're good? Thank you very much, everyone. We really appreciate your support and commitment and your dedication, not just for this opening ceremony, but for the event in general. I would like to kindly ask the technical team to bring the podium back for our next speaker and for the next segment of this opening ceremony. So we do have an honorable guest. We just heard from him some powerful words. But as mentioned before, we really want to give you a powerful welcome here in this country, in Rwanda. So this is why they are putting the podium back on the stage, because we have another great speaker who really wanted to wish you welcome and to wish you powerful works as you start this conference. So very soon, coming to the stage, is the Honorable Minister of Trade and Industry of the Republic of Rwanda, Honorable Prudence Sebahizi, who is going to make his way to the stage. Honorable Minister, you're very welcome. We're looking forward to your address. Please, a round of applause for the Honorable Minister.
Honorable Prudence Sebahizi, Rwanda's Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry with over 20 years of experience in international trade, regional integration and policy development. He previously served at the AFC-FTA Secretariat as Director and Chief Technical Advisor, leading negotiations since 2015. He has advised the Rwandan government since 2006 and contributed to East African community integration efforts. He holds a Master's in International Development Policy from Seoul National University, South Korea.
Since we are now in the core session of today, I don't want to go back to the protocol. I'll only observe the protocol that has been established by the guest of honor. So I just want to say good afternoon, all of you. It's my great honor as I stand here to speak on the theme, Realizing the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, boosting trade and economic development. I want to remind all of us here that this topic of AFCFTA reminds us the aspiration of Africa as a continent which is prosperous, integrated, and self-reliant, of course, adding value to our rich resources by integrating our regional value chains. The AFCFTA is more than a policy framework. It is a bold vision of Africa, Africa's economic transformation and renaissance. Today, we gather here to advance the AFCFTA transformative vision, which aims to bring unity, equity, and shared prosperity to Africa. Today, Africa stands at a transformative crossroads. For decades, our economies have operated in fragmented markets, trading more with distant partners than with each other. As you all know, intra-African trade has been below or around 20%, whereas we know that other regions of the world, such as Asia, Europe, the level of intra-regional trade is more than 60%. This has stunted our collective industrial growth, weakened our value chains, and left us vulnerable to external shocks. The AFCFTA is a game changer. By uniting 55 countries that are members of African Union into a market of 1.4 billion people, with a combined GDP of more than 3.4 trillion US dollars, we are looking at unprecedented opportunity to redefine Africa's economic destiny. The AFCFTA seeks to eliminate tariff on 90% of goods with harmonized rules of origin, reduction of non-tariff barriers, liberalization of services, and promotion of investment, intellectual property rights, and competition policy, without mentioning ensuring inclusive growth that integrate women, youth, and SMEs into our economies. As Rwanda's Minister of Trade and Industry, I'm proud to share how we are implementing this vision and encourage all of us to join in this accelerating success of AFCFTA. Rwanda's strategy focuses on sectors where Africa has a competitive edge, such as agro-processing, ICT, and green minerals. Kigali Innovation City is a prime example, using blockchain to streamline e-commerce and connect small and medium enterprises to regional markets. Through partnerships with Trademark Africa, we have digitized 85% of customs processes, reducing clearance times by 50% and boosting cross-border trade. Our national trade policy aligns with AFCFTA goals, encouraging local manufacturers to integrate into regional value chains, creating jobs, and reducing reliance on imports. AFCFTA's success also relies on inclusivity, particularly for small and medium enterprises, women, and youth. In Rwanda, 30% of funding from the National Export Development Fund supports marginalized groups, fostering women-led businesses, enterprises in agro-export, operating in multiple African markets. We have a government platform called Irembo, which is a digital platform. This platform has issued trade licenses since 2023, with a significant portion going to first-time women entrepreneurs. Additionally, we have launched the AFCFTA Youth Trade Desk in partnership with African Union Youth Assembly, offering mentorship, market intelligence, and access to the Youth Export Fund. This initiative is helping youth-led startups grow and thrive under AFCFTA simplified trade rules. Financial transparency is crucial for the AFCFTA success. Rwanda is committed to adopting the international financial reporting standards for small and medium enterprises while continuing to train our accountants to combat illicit financial flows, which you know has cost Africa more than 88 billion annually. Through the Institute of Certified Public Accountants in Rwanda, ICPA, we are certifying accountants in cross-border tax compliance and sustainable investment frameworks, ensuring SMEs have access to trustworthy advisory services. We are collaborating with the Pan-African Federation of Accountants, PAFA, to create an AFCFTA compliance toolkit to equip accountants with the necessary tools to navigate trade regulations, turning them into key enablers of trade readiness. I urge policymakers to prioritize regulatory coherence by aligning national policies with AFCFTA investment and competition frameworks. We must also invest in the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, PAPS, of course, which is our own payment and settlement system that is going to save Africa more than $5 billion annually, which we lose as a cost of transaction when we transfer money from one country to the other. This PAPS will reduce transaction cost, currency risk, as well as reducing the time it takes to make financial transactions. Professionals should focus on transparency, training SMEs on AFCFTA compliance, and advocating for policies that reduce non-tariff barriers. All stakeholders, public and private, must collaborate to ensure AFCFTA's success. Let us create an Africa where trade is the engine of opportunities and dignity for all. The time for action is now. Let us trade as one. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Thank you for this additional context. It's important to know if we're going to work, in which context we're going to work, especially the Pan-African context that the Honorable Minister just shared. Thank you very much for this great contribution. Now, it's time for conversation. It's time for interaction. And for that, I'm going to invite, and if we can have the technical team remove the podium as I invite the panelists to come on stage. We're going to have a great panel conversation on economic integration in action. I was going to invite the guests first, but the moderator said, no, I need to welcome my guests on stage. So I'm going to welcome the moderator first. Mr. Vixon Ngube, you're welcome to the stage. Please, let's clap as he makes his way to the stage. You're very welcome. Yes, that's the energy. We want to hear more of that. Yes. You're very welcome. Next, I want to call Emily Mburu Ndoria to the stage. You're very welcome, ma'am. And to complete this great panel, I'm going to invite Mr. Eugene Torero to the stage. You're welcome, sir. So now I want to just be like others, take a seat and listen. I think this is going to be great. So I'm going to be part of the audience now. Mr. Nzube, please, over to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Someone was saying good evening. Now, I have a few commitments to make before the session starts. I shall end this session at or before 17:30. My panelists are fully instructed, as the lawyers would say. They are fully instructed to comply with this requirement. It is not optional, it's not debatable, it is an instruction, and I shall comply with it. So I've told them, if you want any questions to come from the audience, behave on your presentations. Now, this morning, ladies and gentlemen, I got a call from a colleague in Zambia who will do a number of assignments in the energy sector, both petroleum and electricity. He said, as you sit in front of the people from across Africa and all over the world, you are not Magasolo Consulting. You are representing the views of the Zambian people. Careful what you say. What you are saying shall be understood as what the Zambians are saying to the audience. With those words, I felt the weight of responsibility of being a leader in a country, and indeed of being a leader in Africa. And those of you who are very familiar with me will understand that my best introduction is always Vixon Ngube, an African who travels on a Zambian passport. I am not a Zambian, I'm an African. I shall read a statement that I prepared to start the session. The Africa Union Agenda 2063 aims to achieve the Africa we want, an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful continent driven by its own citizens and representing a dynamic force in the global arena. It has 15 flagship projects, among them the establishment of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. The African people do not aspire, the African people demand a shared prosperity and a way of being for unity and integration. A continent of free citizens and expanded horizons where the full potential of women and men, youths, boys and girls are fully realized with freedom from fear, disease, and the want. In short, a different and a better Africa. An Africa anchored on African Renaissance and African Pan-Africanism. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my panel as they drill us through this topic. I have with me here a very interesting lady, Emily, and my good friend there, Eugene. We had a very, shall I say, hair-raising discussion before we even started. The moment we met to introduce each other. And I told them one thing. I am not bringing you for an examination. I want you to tell us what you have prepared for us. Emily, you go first.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and good evening. And I stand on the already established protocols. Mine is just a quick reminder, and I'll follow on what Honorable Sebahizi, who has just left us at the AFCFTA, has actually presented this afternoon. And just to say that AFCFTA is the opportunity that we have now as Africans to be able to trade among ourselves. And maybe there I should start with what is the role of the AFCFTA and why the AFCFTA. And the main objective of the AFCFTA is to achieve increased intra-African trade and to foster industrial growth by establishing a single African market that facilitates the unrestricted movement of people, investment, goods, and services across the continent. So that's the aim of the AFCFTA. And how do we go about it? We have a number of protocols that have been established. We have the protocol on trade in goods, the protocol on trade in services, and even a protocol that deals with dispute resolution. That's when now you don't agree among countries, then there is a mechanism that has been set to deal with dispute resolution. We have what we also call phase 2 protocols, and that is the protocol on intellectual property rights, protocol on investment, protocol on competition policy, the protocol on disputes, digital trade, and the one that was earlier mentioned also on women and youth in trade. So those are the main protocols that have been established. But where then are we, and where do we put the accountancy professional in all this and in the work we do? So the accountancy professional falls under what we call trading services, and in particular, business services and professional services. I had a presentation that had been presented specifically to make it easier for you to follow me in this presentation. But because of time, and because, as the moderator has said, he's very specific that we finalize on time. And so I will just simply take you through it to understand why the AFCFTA is so important for you in the accountancy sector. Now, when we talk about the accountancy sector at the AFCFTA, we are talking about accounting, we are talking about auditing, we are talking about bookkeeping, and also about the taxation services. All those are done by the accountant sector. And so what do we do then? We then have what we call the elimination of barriers to trade. And trading services is actually traded in 4 modes of supply. You have mode 1, which then deals with what we say cross-border trade, whereby the client or the consumer doesn't move. So in this case, we can get an auditor. I, Emily, might be requiring an auditor to do my individual audit statements, or to be able to get a bank loan, I would need an audit of my income. In that case, I can just send an email to an accountant. I'm based in Ghana. I can send an email to an accountant based in Nairobi. They do the accounts for me. They send them to me in Ghana. And nobody has moved. Neither the client, me the client, nor the person who is providing the service has moved. And that's where technology becomes very important. And it is good to know that that is one of the key areas that we are working on, or we shall be discussing during this meeting or congress. Then there is a mode 2. Mode 2 is always the tricky one. I'm here in Rwanda. I've just landed in Rwanda this morning. I can actually get a Rwandese accountant to then do those returns for me instead of sending them by email. I speak to a Rwandese accountant to then do those that audit for me here in Rwanda while I'm visiting or while I'm attending the Congress. Then we would be saying I have consumed those accounting services here in Rwanda. We have a mode 3, whereby if you have an accounting company, like let's say the PwCs of this global economy, and you have Ernst & Young establishing an institution here in Rwanda, and then we say that is our 3rd mode of supply, where you have established an institution here in Rwanda to provide services, and so that will be a subsidy or any other form or a branch. Then we have the most interesting one, which is the Mode 4. And when we say Mode 4, it's the movement of natural person. And here AI is not included. We say natural person. So that's you and me being able to move in the continent to provide those services. We have the different categories that then can be able to move under that mode of supply. So you can see that it's encompassing all the different areas that you as an accountant can be able to provide your services to the people and to your clients around the continent. And so with that, what are the different subsectors that we have? We have the financial auditing, we have the financial statements preparation, we have taxation, as I have mentioned, and we have the bookkeeping. And of course, bookkeeping then does not include the tax component of it. So all those are covered in the negotiations. And then when we talk about negotiations, what are we then asking our governments to do, or our key regulators? We are then asking them to remove any barriers that may prevent us in providing our services in those 4 key areas. And those are also established under what we call market access, or providing what we call national treatment. When we say market access, we have established 7 kind of limitations. They are also provided in the protocol. And when we talk national treatment, we are saying that you may provide different treatment for those service providers in the accounting sector that then get into your different jurisdictions. And so this is where, and as I mentioned to moderator, when we are talking services, when we are talking elimination or liberalization in the services areas, we cannot get away from our governments and from the work that our governments do, because they're the ones that then come negotiate, and they're the ones with the responsibility of also eliminating these barriers to trade for you as accountants around the continent. Now, one other key area that we are working on is what we are calling regulatory frameworks. Now, when we talk regulatory frameworks, we are looking at how do we harmonize our regulations across the continent to make it easier to trade among ourselves. And so that is where the regulatory bodies become very important. And here we call then on regulatory bodies to assist us to ensure that we have regulations that are harmonized in the continent and that make it easier for us to trade among ourselves in the continent. To add on it, for professionals, we have what we call mutual recognition agreements. Now, I know that is a language that most of you are aware of, and that is where organizations like PAFA become very important to us at the AFCFTA, because then it makes it easier for them to speak with one voice on your behalf to say which mutual recognition agreements suit your sector as accountants, the accountancy sector. And here, what we are doing at the AFCFTA is actually to come up with the guidelines that would be instrumental to assist the different professional bodies then to come up with their different mutual recognition agreements. I think I'll stop there because the moderator is looking at me, but that just gives you a baseline of what we are working on at the AFCFTA and why it is key and very important for you to participate. And maybe before I finish, Mr. Moderator, to just mention that we have a number of countries, and most of them I did hear them being mentioned when we was congratulating those that are in the room. Countries in Central Africa, countries in Eastern Africa, and some in Southern Africa that have actually made commitments to liberalize their different services sectors. And here we have now 25 countries that have committed to liberalize trade in services. And of those 25, we have 15 that have liberalized or made commitments to liberalize their accounting, auditing, bookkeeping, and taxation services. So we say thank you to those countries for committing to move on the area of trading services. Thank you.
No, actually, Emily, when I was looking at you, I was listening attentively. It was not my intention to put pressure. I just wanted to make sure I hear everything you are saying as part of the listeners. Eugene.
Thanks, moderator. And good afternoon or good evening, I think. Thank you for inviting us to participate in this very important event. I was asked to present on really the economic integration and in action, really harnessing trade for shared prosperity. I won't follow that presentation given the time limitation that we have, so I'll really rush through the key issues that we have to. So as I was thinking about that topic, I asked myself, why do we need regional integration? What would be the key success factors as to really to measure that Africa is integrating? And what would be the tools that would be used to make integration possible? But we also have success stories that we can talk to or we can refer to that actually demonstrate that integration is possible. Last, not least, the second actually to the last, is do we have any examples in Africa where we have actually implemented some measures to promote regional integration? And I was using my area of work on looking at our perspectives on what we have done. I'm also looking at the future. I won't spend much time on why this is important. I think the Honorable Minister has spoken to this. The integration, there are all benefits with it, but there are also challenges. Again, I won't spend much time on this, given that we are limited by time. But I think it is also important to say that while we are making progress, while the CFTA is a game changer, there are key ingredients that we need to have in place for us to realize the key intended objectives. There is no doubt that we need political commitment to implement agreed policies. We need to move from talking to action. I think that is the purpose of the topic. So in actioning what we have agreed, the protocols, we need to see that the CFTA instruments, the Trade Facilitation Annex, the trading services that my colleague has been talking about, they are all being actioned. They are being domesticated at the different national levels. That we have the right people, the institutional capacity to negotiate, translate agreed actions, agreed policies into actions. That we are allocating resources to drive this integration agenda, to be able to achieve the African want. That we are hiring or procuring the right requisite technologies to move things. I think the Honorable Minister talked about the automation of customs services and other trade agencies in Rwanda. And where I work, we're working with about 14 countries in Africa. And most of the things that we're looking to do is how do we support African countries to automate their processes, trade and customs processes. So it's really important for our governments to ensure that they get the requisite technology, but they also put in place the right trade infrastructure. In this case, I talk about if I'm moving my truck from Mombasa to Kigali, how is the road like? If I get to the border, does the staff that is supporting or serving me working in the right working environment, is that trade infrastructure able to integrate with its immediate neighbor? Let's remember that when we want to promote and integrate trade, there is a bridge to make trade happen. And I like to say customs and other enforcement agencies at the border. So those border agencies also need to be working in a very favorable environment. They need to have the right technologies, but they also have to understand what they're doing so that we don't have the different challenges that we have in terms of bureaucracy or kitu kidogo, as we say in East Africa, or so you can translate it the way you want in your different languages. But more importantly, when we do all this, regional integration, who is the beneficiary? The private sector, the LADSOL of this world, the civil society of this world. How does LADSOL Blue get its microphone, water, from wherever it is manufactured with ease and be able to get it in time? So that they don't have to go through a lot of difficulties for it to be costly. So I'll be showing some of the success factors of what we have done in East Africa. Next slide. I won't spend much time on that. The enabling tools, I talked about digital tools that are needed to automate customs and trade processes. Simplification of trade of rules of origin. I want to just spend a little moment on rules of origin. Rules of origin are passports to goods. So the movement of people, Eugene moving from Kenya to Rwanda, or Emily coming from Ghana to Rwanda, will need a passport. A product moving, this microphone, coming from wherever it is coming from, it needs a certificate of origin to be able to receive or be given a preferential trade arrangement. The Honorable Minister talked about 97% of reduction in taxes, in tariffs. That will only be accepted if the certificate of origin conforms to the required requirements. So it's very important that the certificate of origin we are issuing conforms to the right rules, to the right procedures, but also can we be able to use AI to interpret the certificate of origin that has been issued by Emily, who is in Ghana. And for that reason, can we use QR code to be able to say that this QR code is actually, it has been issued by Ghana Customs Services or whoever. The other aspect is really information availability, especially when it relates to trade and customs. Can I go use QR code? Can I go on a website? Can I go to every trade portal and be able to access that information so that before I send my goods, before I send my product, before I travel to Rwanda, I know that my requirements are ABCD, so that before I buy a ticket, I'm able to conform to the right requirements to the country I'm going to, or to the product requirements that I'm sending the good to. So it's very important that that information is available. Payment systems is another tool that is critical. I think the African continent, the CFTA has put in place with, I think, support from the African Exim Bank to develop a system. How are our banks preparing ourselves to shift to that kind of system so that economic operators that are transacting to get a product from Ghana or from South Africa or anywhere are able to make payment with ease? There are some new developments within East Africa, for example, that are trying to help or ease settlement of payments, but I think more needs to be done so that it becomes less costly. NTBs, I won't spend much time on that. I think it has been said, but again, the CFTA has, working with I think UNDP, has come up with an online reporting system. It's very important that we recognize that these challenges we encounter are reported and then create mechanisms to resolve them. Is that possible? The CFTA, COMESA, has put that tool in place, but how often are we using it? How is the private sector aware that this online reporting system is in place, and how can we use it? Of course, there are other trade facilitation tools. One, some of them championed by the CFTA, others championed by the WTO Trade Facilitation Agreement, and all these ones are critical to making trade happen. So, I mean, I can talk more of this, but there's really a lot that we can achieve on that. Now, the other aspect of capacity and all that, we have trade and customs academies that have been put in place. The institutions, the Ministry of Trade, who are always leading negotiations, customs services who are part of the negotiating teams. I mean, all the CFTA, all the trade, the regional integration aspects, 80% of them are customs related. So how are we equipping our staff, our teams, private sector, to train and understand or leverage on existing institutions to be able to understand what is happening and really be able to negotiate, be able to implement the right policies that have been adopted. The other aspect that is very critical, how to become inclusive. The small small mama mboga traders, those who are carrying their trade on the head, how do they be able to move their goods with free ease across the border so that they don't go through panya roads or even lose their goods or even get fall in problems when they are crossing the borders. So it's very important that we put in these tools in place to be able to facilitate movement of goods and services, and more importantly, ensure that this information is known. I won't spend much time on success stories. I think I will just select COMESA, where we have seen collaboration on the yellow card. I mean, when you issue, you get a yellow card from one of our insurance companies, you can move from Kenya to Rwanda or anywhere, and when you present it, you don't have any difficulties. Next slide. This is a crowded presentation, but I just wanted to share with you that, yes, there are challenges, but I think there are also success stories. We've been able to unlock trade in East Africa with increasing the speed of moving cargo from the port of Mombasa, for example, or the port of Dar es Salaam to Kigali, to Burundi, to DRC. We are able to track and trace movement of goods from Mombasa to Kigali in real time. Rwanda Customs Services is able to deploy staff at Mombasa and start the clearance process before the goods even get here. That is some good story to celebrate. So on that slide, there are a lot of success stories that when we share the PPP, you can look at them. But what are the key things that we need to put in place as we move forward and look to the future? I think without saying so much, connectivity is so important. Can we be able to use technology, leverage on AI, blockchain, Internet of Things, and be able to trace where the source of goods are? If I'm exporting horticulture products, avocado, and I have to comply to EU regulations, can I actually show the destination country, let me use an example of France, that these goods have gone through, are complying with the right regulations? And if I send them with a certificate which is normally issued, the yellow one, this yellow one can be checked online by the receiving customs organization when it has been issued by Rwanda. That's really, really important, and we need to think about how we make this possible. Can we domesticate, translate the beautiful frameworks that we have adopted, the CFTA frameworks, within the EAC, the ESA Treaty, and its enabling instruments? Can we translate them and enforce, and ensure that they are enforced? The third aspect, I think, is institutional capacity strengthening. We have trained, but we don't retain. Can we train, retain, and promote expertise in trade and customs services? It's very important to understand that trade is really a service that can be seen in every sector, every education, in education, accounting, everywhere. It's a tradable product. So we need really to promote these skills and be able to ensure that they are integrated in part of our education, in our education systems, and probably promote entrepreneurship. Information availability. Just to make fun of it, in one of the engagements we used to have at the EAC, we went to promote the EAC treaty. So we reached a border in Tanzania, and we were talking to women traders, and told them, you know, East Africa is now under the Common Market Protocol. Then the lady asked us, which market? Where is the market? Where can I take my goods? Tell me where that market is, and I take my carrots, I take my, those are the things that we need to be working on. The reasons why informal traders go through panya routes is because of lack of information. To be honest, most of the goods that are produced within East Africa and are on the common list are not taxable. But because that information lack is not available in the public domain, then people end up going through the panya route. Last but not least, can we promote homegrown solutions? I mean, I talked about training centers. We have centers of excellence on tax matters. on trade matters. I think of TRARAC, I think of TRAPCA, but how often do we use those institutions to train expertise? The revenue authorities present here have well-certified, well-approved training centers. How often do we use them to be able to learn from each other and be able to read the integration process? I have one other one that I had kept to myself, and this is really, really important. Can we make travel easy? I don't know how much money you paid when you are coming to Rwanda, and from where those who are coming to Kenya, I'm sure they paid more than $500. Those who go who travel to New York, the max, maybe France, the gentleman who came from France, maybe you paid less than $500 or $600. Maybe you travel business class. But if you are coming to Kigali and you're coming from Nairobi, Uganda, South Africa, or vice versa, you pay in the region $7,000 to $1,000 US. When you're going to UK, London, you end up paying around $700. Should it be the case? Can we remove these visas, these things which complicate our life? Can we really change this? It's so disturbing. My daughter the other day was moving from Belgium to Spain, and she asked me, "Daddy, can you pay me a ticket?" I said, "How much was it?" $55. "Are you serious? Are you going to Spain from Belgium?" She said, "Yes." I wondered, is that correct? I asked her to double check until she confirmed that it was actually $55. It is possible if we really, really want to move goods, if we want to move services, if we want to use accountant services, if we want to go and buy goods at a cheaper price, so we need to start from there. If we can't make that one easy for people to move, follow their goods, be able to reach out, there's no way we'll integrate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my panelists, for those eloquent, timely, and very key statements you have made. I was going to ask the honorable ministers who are here to say that this trade in the services, why don't you also share it among yourselves as ministers? You all stuck to time and spoke short and to the point, whereas some of the places when the ministers are talking, I'm sure that 75% of the time for the session will go to the politicians talking. Please share it with the rest of Africa so that we can have this standard way of when you have a minister given 15 minutes, it takes 15 minutes. A good hand, big hand for all the ministers who are here. Now, my panelists, you have articulated very important principles on harnessing these subjects we are talking about for shared prosperity. I still have a nagging question. Why is it that is not happening? How can we translate these nice protocols you have signed into an ideology? Now, an ideology differs from an education. An ideology becomes embedded in the people. I'll use you Rwandese as Rwandese since I'm in your country. The cleanliness. One time, I was leaving on the day of cleaning. I was catching a flight. The taxi driver had to explain all the way that this man is going to the airport. He has a flight to catch at 10. On his way back, he had to pass and start working. That is no longer a practice. It has become an ideology in the country to clean your country. How do we then make this continental free trade area move away from being a book thing into an ideology for the continent? I'll start with you, Emily.
Thank you very much. You know, as we agreed, the hard questions go to Eugene. But I'll try on it. And maybe it's also part of our discussions as we were coming here. And I think President Trump has given us a very good reason to actually become committed to the implementation of the AFCFTA. I think this is our opportunity as Africans to then really push the ideology, as you have put it, of having a one market for ourselves, looking beyond the dependency on third parties, if we may call it that are out of the continent. Why can't we then produce what we are producing for the continent, what we are importing to America? Now that you cannot do it anymore, why not look for a market in the continent? Why do we bypass our own markets to look at markets outside the continent? And I think that's where now each country in the continent needs to look at where else in the continent can they be able to provide those, where can they import and where can they provide the services that they were providing in America. Now, there is, of course, a bit of challenges as we've had. And one of the main challenges is logistics. Transport and logistics, and that is the complaint. The last comment that we had from Eugene was really on the development of the transport sector in the continent. That is one of our biggest challenges, and as you've said, it's good we have ministers with us today to actually look at some of these key issues that we need to address. And of course, maybe Rwanda is not a very good example because they've gone ahead to look at all the different areas. But this is still a big challenge for most countries. How do we ensure that the airlines that are servicing our different cities are actually accessible and are at a cost that is possible for trade to happen? And maybe, and I send it back as a challenge to most of our government officials that deal with airports and even marine ports, because from the feasibility studies that have been done, it has come out clear that it's the different charges that are at the different airports and marine ports that actually make the tickets or the transportation of goods very expensive. So how do we assist our traders and our service to be able to move in the continent more easily by reducing those charges that are accessible to, for governments to be able to reduce? He talked about having a $55 ticket between Belgium and Spain. It is only possible because the airport charges are very low. As long as airport charges in the continent continue to be that high, we shall not be able to actually get that single air transport market that we are looking for in the continent. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is also one of the key projects that the African Union is hoping to achieve as part of the Agenda 2063. So we call, and I think coming from the calculations that accountants do, it can actually be more clearer for governments to see where they need to also take charge and reduce some of those charges that will make it easier for us to be able to move from one city to another and also to trade. And having said that, the other thing that we really need is to have trust among ourselves. If we don't trust each other, we shall not be able to trade with each other. But trust is earned. So we really need to earn the trust among ourselves. You gave a good example of the cleaning that is done here every month in Rwanda. That has only been possible because the people are trusting their government, they're trusting their leadership. So once you have trust, then it makes it easier that if you trust that the other person that you're trading with is actually going to do that which they have promised to do, then it makes it easier. And so it goes then to us as Africans. How do we ensure that we can be able to trust each other and therefore be able to trade with one another? And that's the only time we can actually be able to realize the AFCFTA.
Thank you very much.
Eugene, your view?
Yeah, thanks, moderator. I mean, she has said most of it, but I just want to say this again. I think we have wonderful instruments in all, I mean, all the frameworks that we've come together to agree on. I think the challenge is really translating them into action. Domesticate those agreed frameworks at our national level, but also accept that once we have taken them on board, there are no shortcuts, that we are complying to them. The other aspect that we need to do is agree on frameworks around standards. If it is a product and is this water, and this water has certain requirements, it has the mineral composition we've tested, this has been tested, it's agreed, and is sent to, for argument's sake, to Namibia. And Namibia is complying to these standards. Why should Namibia stop this water from entering? It shouldn't be the case. It should allow the water to come in and even allow pre-arrival clearance that these goods are about to leave Kigali and are going to Windhoek, and once it gets there, it should be allowed in without any complications. So it's very important that we do that. The other thing that is really critical is information. Information is power. Without information, things go wrong. Why should we be, as Africa, be getting garlic? I have seen garlic in some supermarkets, in Carrefour in Kenya. I live in Kenya. It really surprises you to see garlic being traded in supermarkets, and you ask yourself, you mean there's no garlic in East Africa? It has gone through the seas from all over the world, and it's so it's cheaper than garlic that has been grown in the neighborhood. Why would be that? Lack of standards, it's lack of information, the rules of origin that we were talking about, it's the bureaucracy at our borders, it's lack of information, lack of expertise to do these things. We don't have trusted systems, and because of that, things get where they go. Fish from Lake Victoria. Why should we be getting fish from wherever it is coming from when we have fish in the neighborhood? When you drive to the eastern province in Rwanda, I'm Rwandan, so I can talk about the areas here. If I'm driving, I see a lot of ponds and go to eat fish, very expensive. Where is it coming from? Maybe China. You wonder, why should we be really going through that? It's very expensive to buy or to really have a good meal of good fish. So, but we have good fish. Agriculture. Africa produces, I think, 60%, if I'm not mistaken. It has the capacity, 60% capacity to produce for the whole world. But guess what? Most of our agriculture-related products, they are coming from where? All over the world. The other day, during the Ukraine crisis, we had problems of getting, eating bread, right? Why? Wheat. But there's wheat neighbor in Tanzania here. But what is the problem? Because of our bureaucracies, wheat cannot easily come to Rwanda, or wherever it is coming from, it becomes very difficult. In the end, we are not able to trade between each other. And so we end up not landing on empty stomachs because we have not eaten bread, or because we love bread, we are not able to do so. We have IDP camps in most of the, in some parts of the world, and particularly in Africa. We are not able to supply WFP, the right cereals, the right corn flour, the right stuff that is going to be used for feeding IDPs or refugees in wherever they would be. Why? Africa can't trade with stuff. Why? Because of standards, because of aflatoxin, because of, those are the things that we need to check and comply to and ensure that we are transparent, we have the right information, we communicate it, and are able to trace, and there is traceability of whatever we are trading. So I think those are, without really talking so much, those are the issues. Thanks.
So trust. I just want us to clarify the issue of trust. Because what I've found out in our continent, and I would say that if there was one biggest impact of colonialism in our brains as Africans, was trust. If an African makes a mistake, we magnify it and attribute to the whole country. Whereas if a former colonial master makes the same mistake, we excuse him and still embrace the whole country. How are we going to reverse that impact in our mind, especially in our children's generation, starting with our own? Eugene, I'll start with you.
That's an interesting one, I must admit. But I think it really goes back to really the agreed standards and then the harmonization aspects. We, as I said, I was using this bottle to demonstrate. So this shirt needs to, this jacket needs to have this water needs to have this microphone needs to be this way. And what happens? We start navigating around these things. When someone is stopped and arrested, kitu kidogo, we can negotiate. So that actually breaks the trust. But I think it is important for us to understand where all this is coming from. I think I agree entirely with you. We have failed to accept that we don't trust what we do. So Ghana produces wonderful textile. How many of us are putting in Ghana stuff? How many have putting on shoes that have been made? One of the producers, manufacturers of shoes in Rwanda, how often do we put on those shoes? Even if they're of good quality, we may not actually use them. Why? Lack of information. The labeling is not the right one. The other day, someone was exporting seed paper to a neighboring country, and he was stopped at the airport. Why? Because instead of packing in the right cartons, he went and picked some cartons that were about to be thrown away, and he put everything there. So when he got to the airport, security stopped him and told him, look, we cannot accept this to go, which was really what was important. So it is costly, it's going to take us so much time, but I think it is important that we agree on certain standards, we set the rules, we respect them, and once we respect them, then we build trust.
Amen.
Thank you. I think I'll go back to my example, and the example I gave was what has happened in Rwanda, that it's actually, once you trust that if the government makes a promise, they are going to fulfill that promise, then it becomes easier to have that rolling down to even the people. So we are now, maybe let me just also talk about what we are doing at the AFCFTA, and that's later this week, tomorrow. We are starting, or today actually, we started the Digital Trade Forum in Lusaka, Zambia. And one of the key elements for digital trade is trust. Because how will I trust that I can pay for my goods to come from Nigeria, from Lagos, to Accra on time and in the exact condition that was on the photograph or what had been discussed with that provider, if we don't trust each other? So we really have to see how to move forward the trust issue, because most of the key elements with digital trade and even for us in the area of trading services as a whole is trust. Because when I talk tourism and I'm coming to Kigali and I see Radisson Blue in their website, and I come here and I find that Radisson Blue is not what they're showing me, then I lose trust in the whole tourism experience in Rwanda. And so for services to develop in the continent, we have to also develop trust among ourselves. Now, we can only develop trust if I ask for my audit, bringing it back to the accountants, that you will give me my audit report by Friday, then you give it to me by Friday. Otherwise, if you're not able to, and you don't give me that information, then we start breaking the trust among ourselves as service providers, and me as your client. So I think that is really the ethics, the work, and it's ethics at the end of the day. I think that's the easiest way of just saying it. We have to have accountability and we have to have ethics especially for services to develop in the continent. And having said that, I'll also say without well-functioning services sector, that is the financial services sector, your transport sector, your professional sectors, and all other key sectors, even such as branding, you can see what branding does. It actually amplifies whatever it is that you're doing. And so without all those services sectors being taken into consideration, we will not be able to join the value chains and even the global value chains and supply chains that are there in the global world for us to be able to develop and also to be able to trade even among ourselves in the continent. I submit. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll make a few remarks as I wind down. First, I will ask Eugene to give me one killer statement before I end the session, followed by you, Emily. A killer statement.
Oh my. That's an interesting one. I think I'll go back to the there's no way we can integrate if goods and services cannot move together. So if we want proper integration, there's a need to understand that goods will only move if services are also part of the game. So if a truck driver is moving goods from wherever they're coming from, they should also be facilitated. And that requires integrating our systems. So I think integration. Thanks.
Thank you. I think I'll use an African proverb. It makes it easier.
Good. In fact, you make it good for me.
Yeah. If you want to go far, you'll walk alone. But if you want to move fast, you walk alone. But if you want to go far, we move together. And that's where the essence of integration and moving together as a continent.
I want to turn to my fellow accountants, the professionals. There is a statement I made once as I was making a presentation in a country I can't remember. I said, let's move away from the culture of my God is better than your God. We have put up regulations in our profession as a continent as a way of blocking services moving among ourselves. If you want to practice in Uganda, ISPA will say, you must have a certificate from ourselves, not from Certified Public Accountant of Tanzania, or of Kenya, or of Rwanda. But yet the textbook of accounting, economics, law, and all these that you use are the same. If we are going to be talking about integration, as accountant in this hall. Let's start from home. Number two, we should not magnify our differences while minimizing our similarities. One of the reasons that create this mistrust, we always maximize the small differences that we have so that we protect ourselves and minimize the actual similarities. May we reverse this agenda. That is why, if I were to tell you that I'm wearing a shoe made in England, you become happier than if I said it's from Tanzania. Can we also say Tanzanian shoes are good as Africans? Can we also learn from wild animals? The other day, I was at the Victoria Falls in Zambia. I saw a big group of elephants swimming across the Zambezi River. And I asked the people I was with, are those Zambian or Zimbabwean elephants? Yet, if I try to go to Zimbabwe, they demand a passport for me just across the river. The elephants swam. Can we learn from the wild animals also? May I conclude by reading my first opening statement. The African Union Agenda 2063 aims to achieve the Africa we want, an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful continent driven by its own citizens and representing a dynamic force in the global arena. It has 15 flagship projects, among them the establishment of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. The African people demand a shared prosperity and well-being for unity and integration, a continent of free citizens, expanded horizon, where the full potential of women and men, youths, boys and girls are fully realized, and the freedom from fear, disease, and want. In short, a different and a better Africa. An Africa anchored on the African Renaissance and Pan-Africanism. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and a big hand for my panel. And to my panelists, you have just demonstrated that there's no African time. There's just time for the watch. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. A big round of applause. Please kindly remain on the stage as we also have tokens of appreciation for you. And as we do so, I would like to ask the technical team at the back, can we display the bio videos of our panelists so people know exactly who they are and why they provided so well, points of view to this audience?
She has over 20 years of experience with international and regional organizations specializing in trade negotiations, digital trade, investment policy, and regional integration in Africa. At the AFCFTA Secretariat, she provides technical and strategic leadership on implementing the AFCFTA agreement, especially the protocol on trade in services, investment, IPR, and digital trade. She has previously worked at UNCTAD, COMESA, SADC, and EAC secretariats, contributing to trade policy and capacity building. She has also lectured at the WTO Regional Trade Policy course. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in welcoming Ms. Emily Njeri Mburundoria.
Previously directed TMA support to the East African Community on WTO Trade Facilitation Agreement implementation and established TMA's program in South Sudan. Formerly a Deputy Commissioner General at Rwanda Revenue Authority, he championed trade reforms through custom digitization and interagency integration. He brings expertise in regional trade and customs modernization. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Eugene Torero, the Regional Director for the Horn of Africa and Rwanda at Trademark Africa, leading trade facilitation initiatives.
Ladies and gentlemen, it was really a pleasure facilitating this session today, this opening ceremony. Before we close, a couple of announcements. First, there'll be tea break right downstairs. When you exit the room this way, you'll find tea break and refreshments, so feel free to network as you take some refreshments. Starting time tomorrow is at 9 a.m. So all the sessions will be starting at 9 a.m. tomorrow. We will be waiting for you. There'll be transport available, and this will be displayed on the screen behind you. So please feel free to watch this as you exit the room shortly. Please do carry your badges for the ushers and the security to know you are part of the conference. Tomorrow, please do carry your badges so you'll be able to enter the rooms and the different sessions you are in. And also, for those who can, please remember to carry earphones for translation services. So, before we close, allow me to thank again Mr. John Bugunya, all the speakers for today. Mr. John Bugunya, please, let's clap for him. Mr. Obadia Biraro, Mrs. Keto Kayemba, Monsieur Jean Bouko, our guest of honor, Honorable Yusuf Murangwa, Minister of Finance and Economic Planning of the Republic of Rwanda, Honorable Prudence Sebahizi, Minister of Trade and Industry of the Republic of Rwanda, Mr. Vixon Dube, Mrs. Emily Mburundoria, and Mr. Eugene Torero. Thank you very much for your kind support and your insights. As we exit the room, I would like to ask the room, please, let's have the first row stand and exit the room, and then we'll be able to as well proceed to the tea break area. And for the delegations that would like to take a group picture, you are free to come on stage as delegations and take group pictures. The photographers are available. Once again, thank you very much. The hashtags are on the screen. Don't forget to follow and retweet. Thank you. Okay. An announcement, the delegates from Tanzania, you are welcome on stage for your picture, for a group picture.